Welcome everyone. Today finds me in Victoria, British Columbia. Victoria is the capital of British Columbia and it's located on Vancouver Island, and what a beautiful city it is. Not a very populated city, only about 85,000 people, but interestingly enough, the density of over 4,000 people per square mile is denser than that of the city of Toronto. It's getting dark, but I think we're still going to be able to see a lot of interesting things in this city. Starting with this miniature world. It's closed right now, so we're not going to go in, but the display in the window is really pretty interesting. Look at this. I think this represents the underworld. But on a happier note, we have what looks to be a turn-of-the-century Victorian home, and Grandma is tending the garden. We've been to Baraboo and seen the greatest show on earth. This is the greatest little show on earth. There's so much more to see. We're not going to take it all in, but I think we will spend the day at the wharf. This beautiful structure is the Empress, built in 1908. It's one of the landmarks of the city. It's a hotel that was built by the railroad. Pretty impressive. If we have a chance, we'll go inside. As you can see, just a beautiful, beautiful waterfront. We're going to head down there and start walking along the wharf. I see a dolphin. No, not in the water. This is a land dolphin. Mighty pretty though. Made of all this mosaic stone. Very, very pretty. As I was driving to my hotel today, there was a deer just grazing at the side of a sidewalk right in the town, and then about 100 feet up, traffic was stopped and a buck was walking across the road. Great big antlers. Pretty interesting in a major city just to see these deer wandering around. There are a lot of seaplanes in the area. In fact, I see planes everywhere. And here there's the Seaplane Flights Tours. That seems like it'd be an awful lot of fun. It's not going to happen this trip, but maybe sometime in the future. And right next to the Seaplane Tours is the Flying Otter Grill. Maybe I ought to go there. And here we see a professional guide service if you want to go fishing. I guess we could do it just for the hell of it. These puns are getting terrible. And here's Victoria Harbour Airport. Since this is an island, flying is one of the ways people get on and off the island. Behind me is Victoria Harbour Authority. I don't even know how I got down here. I think I'm heading in the right direction to get up, however. I've heard Victoria described as a genteel tourist city. There's something I want to show you here if it's not too dark and I can find it. Look at these big rings. And isn't this interesting? There are hands that are tying the rope onto the rings. There is some significance to that. I think we might be able to find some others around here. What's important to recognize is this used to be the water line right here, until at some point they filled it in and turned it into a parking lot. But this used to be the edge of the harbor. And we should see some other rings around here somewhere, but I gotta be careful because I could fall right into the drink if I'm not careful. Now this ring is really more significant. While the other was symbolic, this is legitimate. And it goes back well over 100 years. And here's another one. So what's the significance? Well, as I trudge up this hill to street level, I'll show you. Now we're looking down on where I just was, looking at those rings. And this little miniature park has a lot of explanations to what we just saw. Fort Victoria. The mooring rings on the rocks below are the only surviving fragment of Fort Victoria, built by the Hudson's Bay Company in 1843. So that's it. That's largely how this city started. It was a fur trading outpost, and it was kind of the headquarters for heading either up to Alaska or down to California, San Francisco. This anchor was salvaged from the harbor. You can see we're kind of decked out for the Christmas holiday right now. Being on the Pacific coast, very temperate climate. Probably in the 50s, maybe dropping down a tad into the upper 40s tonight. I saw this restaurant when I was walking yesterday, and I thought maybe it would be a good place to eat tonight. Kind of a picturesque setting. But it's not quite dinner time yet. I have other things to look at. Catawampus, fudge, and funk. This does remind me of another Canadian harbor city on the complete opposite end of the continent, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Halifax is one of my very favorite cities, so I would say it nudges out Victoria by a nose. Of course, maybe if I was here in the summer, I would think differently, because this is a very beautiful city. To give you an idea where we've been walking, we started here, and we walked along, and somewhere around here is where I crawled up the hill and the wall, right around there. And now we're way up here. And here's an interesting bridge. I can walk across it, underneath it actually. I don't know if I'm gonna head there just yet. There's Market Square. A lot of restaurants and shops. Here's another look at Market Square. The city does have a lot of interesting structures from around the turn of the century, the Victorian style. No play on words that this is Victoria. But it's interesting to see a relatively young city, and those are some of the oldest buildings. This fountain used to sit at the entrance of town, where it was available for parched travelers, horses, and even pigs and dogs. And now it was relocated here, restored in 1975, and we can actually use it to get a drink, sort of. Good Lord, not gonna get a drink there. Look at that big boy. Woo! I'm willing to bet at one time water came out of that mouth. What do you think? Lots of art stores, gift shops, clothing. It isn't exactly the height of tourist season, so this place is really kind of empty. Nice to look at though. I do like the architecture in this city. And now we're on Government Street, which is kind of the touristy street. You'll see a lot of tourist shops here. There's something with a little steampunk look to it. It's kind of unusual here in Canada to refer to anything as Indian or Eskimo. Let's go inside. Okay, let's see what the shot glasses are. $3.95 Canadian. That is a really good price for a shot glass. The lady in there didn't say I couldn't record, but she kind of gave me the stink eye. So I thought it'd be best that I left. And there, Bastion Square. That just goes down to the waterfront where we were, because right over there is the restaurant that I ate at yesterday. What says Canadian tourism more than a big giant stuffed moose? And where is it? At the Cool as a Moose store. The old time candy shop. And yet just about everything in the window are mugs. And we are right back where we started, at the Empress. Let's see if we can get inside. Built just after the turn of the century. I believe it opened in 1908. This is quite the Victoria landmark. For nearly a century, it didn't even have a sign on it, but I guess 21st century finally caught up to it. And I can't go up these stairs because it looks like they're blocked off. Five will get you 10, that at one time, these were phone booths. Well, that was fun. Even though we couldn't get into the guest area, it's always fun going into historic places like that. There's my hotel through the trees, so I can see all of this from my hotel room. And it's rather dark, so we can't see the statue of Queen Victoria very well. But there she is, the city's namesake. Let's take a walk up to the Parliament building. Legislative Assembly of British Columbia. And look at this. They have the parliamentary dining room menus. Isn't that interesting? This is pretty cool. Very interesting architecture once again. And now I'm getting hungry. Let's see if we can find a place to eat. Maybe go back to, what was it called, Finn's? We'll check it out. Now we're on the other side of the marina from where we started. Over there is the Empress. And right over there is where I first walked down onto the Harbor Walk. And way over there is that blue bridge where we stood just by the entrance. So that's how far we've been walking tonight. Look at that boat, all lit up for Christmas. And we're way too close to see it, but these giant letters spell out, "Welcome to Victoria." And it goes along this entire walkway. This is pretty cool. You can see Victoria here. There's Vancouver Island. And they have these tours where you can see sea lions and harbor seals and orca whales and humpback whales. So far so good. Seems like a nice place. They've got a corner table here, but it's got a pretty nice view of the harbor. Right now, they have that space heater there because they said there's construction on this window. And they said it's leaking cold air from up there. I'm not really feeling anything. Interesting how they serve the mixed drink. And your own soda. Now, I'm not a huge shellfish fan, but it was recommended by the waiter. So there we go. And they have a little hand towel here. May not be my favorite dish, but this is pretty good. Well, I made a good choice. That was a good dinner. And my waiter, Twamaz, was an engaging young man. It was just a good night. But it's drawing to a close. Time to head back to my hotel. I hope you enjoyed our visit to Victoria, British Columbia. As always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. Leave your comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe by clicking my face down there in the corner. And don't forget to ring that bell icon up above. That way you'll know when I post new videos. From Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, I'm Mark with the Average Me Channel.